to begin there, the press conference that we've been waiting for quite some time, being delayed.
We got Blinken and the Moldovan president as well.
Right, we did get. Here's the Prime Minister. It looks like he's about to begin. Let's listen. I'll be translating. I just came a few hours ago from Moscow to try to help with a conversation between all sides, of course, with the encouragement of all sides involved. As everybody knows, the situation is not good. Many people are suffering, and it will be much worse if things continue this way. There are also Israelis who need to go home and Jewish communities that need help. I cannot expand more on this, but we will continue to help as much as possible. Even if the chance is not great, even if there's a small opening, we have the access to all sides and the ability, and I see it as our moral duty to do everything to try and make an effort to do something. We are preparing for a large wave of immigration to Israel. We're going to put up a number in this week of what we can take in. It's a mission, it's a challenge that we've stood up to many times in the past. In these moments, where Jewish people are not safe anymore where they are, it reminds us how important it is that there's a home for the Jewish people wherever they are. How important that we have the state of Israel for that. As far as talks about returning to the Iranian nuclear deal in Vienna during the weekend, something important happened and positive. The head of the International Atomic Energy Agency visited Tehran and decided not to agree to the Iranian demand to close the investigation that's taking place there. This is an important decision by the UN watchdog that they did not cave into the Iranian demand. We know about the deficiencies in the agreement. Anyway, the agreement will not force Israel's hand in any way. That was the Prime Minister, Naftali Bennett. Looks like those are his opening comments for now. There's his translator, Zev Elkin, who was with him in Moscow with the meeting with Vladimir Putin. Elkin was also Netanyahu's translator for many years in those bilateral meetings between Israel and Russia. Let's go back here into studio. Owen Alterman.
We were glad to have Zev Elkin's book about all those meetings with Putin.
Then
Prime Minister Netanyahu, now with Naftali Bennett.
He must have a lot of fascinating information there that he's obviously not divulging with the public about all these meetings with Putin. We still have the presser there, kind of waiting to see maybe if something else comes out of it. But it looks like just sort of the standard delivery there from Bennett saying we're doing what we can here on all the important issues, the Ukrainian-Russian conflict, trying to resolve that somehow, the Ukrainian refugees, Jewish refugees coming in, the Iranian nuclear deal, but nothing really really substantial coming out there.
Right. It was always interesting, Alec, to hear what the Prime Minister decides he wants to talk about and the things he decides he doesn't want to talk about. So obviously he talks about his diplomacy, of course, in a bit tooting his own horn, but also justifying it, saying that as long as there is a tiny possibility of an opening, we will ask wherever we are requested. And that is a central word here, because again, the criticism of him over the course of the last 24 hours or less has been that he did this mediating mission, again, flying to the Kremlin, flying to Germany, against the wishes of the United States, or if not against the wishes of the United States, without a green light from the United States. And Bennett essentially indicating that that's not how he has interpreted what is happening, and that his criteria for continuing to act is that we, Bennett, the Israeli government, will be requested to be there as a mediator. So again, trying also, I think, Alec, to lower expectations, the outcome of the talks, right? Indicating that, maybe even saying explicitly that the chances of success are small, but Israel will try nonetheless to try to move forward. As for this issue of refugees coming to Israel, fascinating. On one hand, we talked about this a few minutes ago in the run-up to the comments. two categories of people, right? Ukrainian Jews and those eligible under the law of return.
Which are not
one category.
In any way, everyone agrees that they want to bring them here. All the officials and most of the general public.
That's certainly true of the Jews, and to a large extent true to those who are not Jewish but still eligible under the law of return. Then there's the obviously much larger category of other Ukrainian refugees. And that's where there is real controversy and question over Israel's policy. Bennett didn't have a word to say about that. He only talked about this issue of aliyah, of immigration of those who are entitled to Israeli citizenship under the law of return, and speaking particularly to the emotional issue here in Israel of Jews and their welfare and bringing them to the Jewish state, indicating that the number is expected to be quite large. Interestingly enough, Alec, not limiting his comments to Ukraine, simply saying a large wave of aliyah. Presumably that includes a potential component of that wave from Russia, given the deteriorating economic and political situation there. Right. So that was number two. And of course, on the Iran nuclear deal, where Bennett frequently addresses it, didn't cover too much new ground. Again, reiterating, I think it's very important that he continues to reiterate that Israel's not bound by this deal. And there are no obligations that Israel has taken on, either explicitly or implicitly, by virtue of this deal potentially being agreed, giving a compliment to Rafael Grossi, the Director General of the IAEA, interesting in and of itself, and obviously covering, in that sense, in his brief comments, the two hot-button issues of Ukraine and Iran, and leaving the rest to the side, as is understandable on a morning like this one.
Right. So again, just covering the ground there, Bennett. But we did not see any major sort of diplomatic breakthrough that maybe some people were hoping for.
But he did lower expectations, and that itself, I think, is news.
Right. Right. All right. International Affairs correspondent Owen Alterman, thank you very much for that. So we're gonna go.